The day began with a downpour in our nation's capital, bringing out the Shaw Field grounds crew and delaying the start of what has turned out to be a picture-perfect Sunday afternoon in D.C. as the Georgetown Hoyas, ranked 14th in the country, host their senior day against the Seton Hall Pirates. Glad to have you with us on this Sunday afternoon in D.C. I'm John Fanta, and this is a critical showdown for Dave Nolan's Hoyas, who are winless in their last 3 Big East encounters, and that leads us to the Big East standings, where Georgetown, 14th in the country, finds themselves in second place. They have 2 remaining home encounters in the regular season. That means today they have to handle business as the role of the pursuer of Xavier, and they're going to do it against a winless Seton Hall team in the league. For the Pirates, their impact player is the one in the cage. It's Harpa Johnsdaughter. The freshman only allowed 1 goal against Creighton earlier this week, and when she got tested throughout that 90 minutes, the first-year Pirate handled most every challenge, but today brings a whole nother level of a test, because on the other side for Georgetown is the dynamic senior forward, Amanda Carolyn, one of the best in the Big East. Carolyn currently ranks 3rd in the Big East with 9 goals on the season. She's everywhere around the ball, and Seton Hall has to have her mark on her senior day this afternoon. It's the Hoyas and the Pirates renewing their Big East rivalry next on the Big East Digital Network. Pirates getting set for this showdown with Georgetown. Here's a look at their 4-3-3 starting 11. I told you about Johnsdaughter. Marissa Anilowski, a senior defender who can get up the field quickly and make things happen. She had a great opportunity at the 6 against Creighton Thursday. And then watch out for Izzy Angle in the midfield. She's the engine for this program. Meanwhile, for this Georgetown side, this is a get-right game for them, and up top, along with Carolyn, is Paula Germino-Watnick. These 2 seniors, part of a 7-member class that is now just 2 wins away from becoming the winningest class in Georgetown program history. That would put them at 78 wins. A look at the series, it has been dominated by the Hoyas. Look at that, 34-0. Georgetown has outscored Seton Hall in the last 7 meetings combined. Pirates in a rebuilding season under Kira Krinian, and they're going up against the heavyweight in the conference. Here are the stakes for this matchup now, as you look at Johnsdaughter getting ready to go. The freshman, while the record says one thing, Kira Krinian's excited about what she brings to the table, and she's in for a steep test today. Georgetown warming up, and they go to Alyssa Navarrete today. Navarrete, the junior, so she comes on for Anna Leet, who's been a stellar freshman, a freshman of the year candidate in the Big East, but today Leet with at least this first half off, and Navarrete gets the start. Krinian, in her first season coming over from Hartford, she leads the Pirates and knows that this is a rebuilding mode for this program, as the Pirates just 1 win on the season, but they felt like they put together their most impressive performance earlier this week. And on the other side, Dave Nolan, the legend, has put up now 13 consecutive seasons of 10-plus wins. And here are the stakes, folks. Georgetown now must win to stay on track with Xavier in the Big East standings. The Hoyas entered today just 1 point behind Xavier. Now they're 4 points behind, as Xavier won in the final minute of regulation over DePaul in Cincinnati, an absolute thriller, meaning the Hoyas have to take care of business in this one now to stay a point behind. Here's a cross laid in, and the Pirates in their visiting blue. Georgetown in the home gray. as it's a huge day of Big East women's soccer. And both these teams were watching the other action in the league, and we'll have updates for you throughout the day. But the biggest update is this: Xavier edging DePaul, a DePaul team that just beat Georgetown on Thursday, a season-changing win for Aaron Chastain's group. But now Xavier taking down the Blue Demons, and the Musketeers controlling their destiny at the top of the table with one remaining regular season contest, that coming at the Selleck Bowl, a tough place to get a win on Thursday against Butler. Here's Casey Richards with the cross. That one laid away. Richards scoring against Seton Hall last year in the 3-0 Hoya win. You think about this senior class, 2 college cups in the last 3 years, 3-time defending Big East tournament champions. They could potentially roll out history in November if they're able to win another Big East tournament title. The run starting in 2016, right here at Shaw Field. An epic semifinal with DePaul that went to PKs, and that really was the start of what has been a remarkable run for this program, which you can call a dynasty in the Big East in women's soccer now because of the way that they have controlled this league. Seton Hall in the 4-3-3. They felt like they controlled the ball pretty well against Creighton on Thursday. The Blue Jays' goal came with less than 20 minutes left, as now the ball deep in Seton Hall territory for Johnsdotter, donning that pirate cap. It's a good thing she packed that because the temperatures are in the 70s now. You could fire up the grill if you wanted to. It's gotten warm here in our nation's capital.
Hey guys.
Dave Nolan said that this Georgetown side today would come out like a hornet's nest. He said, we are not happy with the way we've been playing, and it's time to turn that around right here, right now.
Thank you for moving.
He thought that the first 15 minutes of this fixture would decide the way that this goes. He thinks that if they can break through early, it could lead to the floodgates opening. But he said the longer you let a team hang around, Seton Hall has nothing to lose. They're playing the spoiler role in this one. And on Thursday, when they'll close out the regular season hosting a Providence team that will be playing with postseason implications at stake. Down the right side now. Hoyas trying to get into that final third, as you just saw Jermino Watnick. Her speed is deadly if you don't mark her. Dave Nolan calling Paula one of the most talented players he has ever coached, and he's coached some very talented players through the years. Said Paula's such a high achiever, and her only flaw is that she's too hard on herself. She holds herself to such high standards as Georgetown earns the corner. They lead the Big East in corners this year, 118 taken. There's Coach Nolan. The bucket hat, he wears it well. And he is a legend on the hilltop. 214 wins. Has clinched a 13th straight 10-win season. 7-1-1 at home. Here's the cross to the near post and sent in and kicked away by the Pirates. As that came in to the near side and then was pinched back to the far post. Seton Hall able to stave it off for now as Watnick trying to find Nizelek. Pirates bulleting it away. Georgetown's in a 3-5-2 with Jermino Watnick, Carolyn up top. They've got Carson Nizelek, the midfielder, moved up in that to try to facilitate a little bit, use her physicality. In that 3-5-2, what's so stable is the back line. Lease, Nally, and Livingstone. Dave Nolan feels like that his back line can be sturdy for years to come. He said the challenge of next year is going to be to try to find scoring replacement for Jermina Watnick and Carolyn, who have combined for 15 goals on the year. Jermina Watnick with the 8 assists, good for second in the Big East. There's a connection between these two teams and between these two coaches. For Dave Nolan, he graduated from Seton Hall, class of '91, and actually spent the 1998 season on the Seton Hall women's soccer staff as the goalkeeper coach. And came to Georgetown in '99, and for the last 2 decades, it's been very special. These two coaches are huge Liverpool fans, and they both were paying a great amount of attention to the telecast earlier. Here's a ball sent in. Jermina Watnick lays it to the near post, and it was everything but the finish for the Hoyas. They are knocking on the door now as Carolyn had the setup perfectly from her teammate Jermina Watnick. But you can sense it's only a matter of time. As Nally, the center back, just lays it back to the right end. Look at Jermina Watnick go. So silky smooth in her approach. Trying to inch it close to the box. Now they do. Seton Hall packing it in defensively, just playing survival mode right now. Let's take another look at Jermina Watnick here. On the right side, back post. Goes to the opposite end, and Carolyn just couldn't get a clean foot to it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you don't have to hold it the entire time.
For Georgetown, just 1 shot on goal against DePaul on Thursday. That is a glaring number. Dave Nolan saying that it was just one of those possession-oriented, wear-you-down games, and he felt like his side was playing to win, and they just got unlucky. Late, gave up a tough goal. Now with Xavier with 18 points at the top of the table, it's critical for Georgetown to set the tone here. A must-win scenario for their regular season title hopes. Jermina Watnick again. She's getting double, doesn't matter. Left foot to the top of the box. It's Carolyn who feeds it back. And now Trissel, the one-hop smash, eaten up by John's daughter. Great sequence. As we take another look, Carolyn with the selfless give. That's what she is to this program. As much as Amanda Carolyn has 9 goals on the year, Dave Nolan calls her unselfish, someone who's team first. She sets the culture for this program. Creighton and St. John's are scoreless in Queens. That game got suspended for an hour due to rain. As here's a floater towards the back, and the Pirates stave this one off. Nearly 10 minutes in, Georgetown has just tilted the field in their favor. That's the way this series has gone the last 7 years. Since the Big East realigned to the 10-team format, the Hoyas have dominated when these two teams have met. Devin Liss is fouled. A whistle on Alyssa Ryskowski. Ryskowski with a score on her campaign. But this Seton Hall side offense has been tough to find. They only have 5 goals on the season. Here's Carson Nislek, the senior. When she's on, she's a game changer for the Hoyas. That's what her head coach Dave Nolan says. Nislek with the feed, headed right away. Now Seton Hall with a transition opportunity if they'd like. Taken away by Jermina Watnick. Seton Hall able to just dribble it out. This is a get-right game for Georgetown. Richards laid back. Liss cut off well by Seton Hall. Right now, Georgetown, the numbers they're feeding forward, the imposing presence they've put on this game already. It's the type of start Dave Nolan wanted to see. Julia Lease, part of the back line, just a freshman. Was a captain for our high school team as a junior and seniors. Now they feed it up ahead. Here's Jermina Watnick. On her senior day, Jermina Watnick lays it in the middle of the box, and it's bulleted away. Devin Liss left to the cage. It'll be a goal kick. Paul or Jermina Watnick. When she's on, she's as good as anybody in this conference. Well, we're 12 minutes in, and Seton Hall's played virtually the entire 12 minutes on their defending end. Impossible to do that here against the 14th ranked team in the country and not concede. On top of that, temperatures have gotten unusually warm for late October. As here's some buildup from the Hall. Rezkowski, but it was taken away by Liss, who fed it to Richards.
Nice ball. Nice ball.
Emily Kaza, it's a dangerous ball played back, but Johnsdotter reels it in and sends it forward. Well, the scoreboard reads scoreless, and that was the goal for Seton Hall in the first 15 minutes. Avoid giving up a quick one. And while Georgetown has come out with 3 shots, you're 2 minutes away from achieving that goal, putting a green check mark next to it. Danny Camilleri, midfielder who has put together some strong stretches of play in her junior season. Now a feed up ahead and just blasted away by Emily Kaza. Another junior, she's in the back line of this 4-3-3. To Julia Lease. Lease hopes that she can be part of an NCAA tournament semifinalist squad at some point in her career. You see that banner in the background here at Shaw Field. This ball just fed harmlessly to Navarrete. Dave Nolan wanting to get his junior keeper some work here today. Here's Richards as we take a look at those regular season crowns. Georgetown looking for a three-peat. And then in the tournament, they'll try for a four-peat. They just need one more point. A draw would lock them in. But they'd like to go into the final day of the regular season with a shot at the regular season crown. Big East Women's Soccer Tournament kicking off next weekend. As here's a ball fed to Jermina Watnick. She is onside. Jermina Watnick lasers one of the back posts, and it's out. As we remind you, postseason tickets are now available for 2 Big East Fall Championships driven by Jeep. For tickets to the Big East Women's Soccer Championship semifinals and final in Omaha, Nebraska, November 7th and 10th, head to www.bigeast.com/WSOC tickets. For tickets to the Big East Field Hockey Championship hosted by Quinnipiac, November 8th and 10th, head to bigeast.com/FH tickets. Big East Women's Soccer Championship kicking off next weekend. It'll be next Sunday that the quarterfinals are at campus sites. 3-6 with the 3 seed hosting, and then the 4-5 with the 4 hosting, and there's still so much left to be decided in terms of those seedings. Georgetown hopes that they can just take care of business here and avoid having to even think about a quarterfinal. The right side in the box. Battle for it and laid towards the edge of that attacking third for the Hoyas. This has been all Georgetown possession-wise thus far. Official pointing in favor of the Hoyas. We'll be keeping you posted throughout the afternoon with so much at stake, and Thursday is Judgment Day in Big East women's soccer. And there's a lot of storylines now as the tournament inches closer. You think about, there's not much of a gap between the 3 and the 6 and the 4 and the 5 in the quarterfinals next Sunday. That's why home field's so important. And then we'll march on to Omaha, and you don't have a clear home field advantage like you've had with the campus site situation in years past. Georgetown's so stout here at Shaw Field. They've lost just once here this year. That came to NC State. Seven 1-1 as this pass is cut off by the Pirates. Emma Ramsey trying to get her way through, but Livingstone eats it up. Kellyanne Livingstone has been a player who's impacted this program from the start of her career. Now a junior for the Hoyas. Here's Jermino Watnick, left edge, and she wins out on a corner. Be number 3 for Georgetown. Seton Hall has had trouble defending corners this season, so they've moved to a part man-to-man, part zonal approach defensively. Let's take a look at the Hoya faithful here on Senior Day. Jermino Watnick, such a specialist at feeding it in, 8 assists on the year. Lays this one to the back post, punched away by John's daughter, headed back out. Still dangerous here. And the Pirates just ice it back to the other end. Well, 19 minutes in, Dave Nolan thought that it could go this way today in terms of Seton Hall. Here's Jermino Watnick, left side in the box. Beautiful move by the senior, who goes off the right post on a nasty shot. This is beautiful soccer. What a move, and if she finished that off, she's getting the top play in the Big East this week. Paula, a star student, 3-time Big East academic all-star, and both her parents are in medicine. Dave Nolan knows her path is going to lead her to medicine, and he's trying, before Paula goes into the medicine field, he loves how talented she is, and she loves the game of soccer so much. And they've looked into some professional options right after school for the star senior. Dave saying that when Paula is on, it is electrifying to the game. Now in the midfield, it's Liz with it, part of the future of this program. On the right end, it's fed ahead to Carolyn. Carolyn with a laser that just is laid across. Seton Hall can get rid of it for now. Pirates go to their bench for the first time today, and it's their first substitute that's typically off in games. Jay Smith. Smith, the freshman from Hayward, California, came on against Creighton and put together some strong efforts with her speed. That's what Kira Cranian likes to bring her in for. So Jai Smith getting a look here and in a battle right now with Richards. This is in no man's land now for Georgetown to attempt to capitalize, but the official whistling here for a Seton Hall foul. It feels like it's only a matter of time for Georgetown. Jermino Watnick to the top of the area, sent away. That said, Dave Nolan didn't want to see his team get tight, knowing they've got to win for their Big East regular season title hopes. Sometimes it causes you to play too tight, and that can result in some mistakes. He said Seton Hall's got nothing to lose, and that's the most dangerous type of opponent you can face. Jenna Menta coming on for Royson. Menta, the junior from Somers, New York. Allie trying to find Jermino Watnick, but a good job by Engel. She was ready there. That was nearly taken away from Jermino Watnick, but she stood in. And that's all because of her hustle and her efforts. She's put her foot on the gas here. Goes to the opposite end. Now here's Menta, who just came on. Cut off. And on the far end, Seton Hall will get rid of it. 23 minutes in, glad to have you with us from our nation's capital. A match that was supposed to start at 1 o'clock, delayed due to downpours here in D.C. this morning. They put together a $500,000 renovation of this field over the offseason. Worked on the drainage, and it has really transformed this surface. Earlier today, they debated this morning. They didn't want to just come on this field and potentially jeopardize the amount of money that they've put into the renovation. On top of that, they have every expectation to be hosting the NCAA tournament here in men's and women's soccer, and with matches on the horizon beyond the regular season, with the men's soccer team as the first place squad. They'll have home field advantage throughout the playoffs and a College Cup contender. You don't want to jeopardize that at all. And so they push this start time back. You also want to worry about the player safety with how much it rained this morning. It was really coming down. Mother Nature leaving her mark on the Big East playoff picture, but now she's brought sunny skies for the senior parents of the Hoyas. Nice shot from our crew. Pretty damp for the Marine Corps Marathon this morning, too. They couldn't move that around. Here's a ball ahead to Jermino Watnick. Right side of the box, saved by Johnsdaughter. On the rebound, the floater is over the top. Oh, the senior nearly just had one of those senior moments. On a day of celebration, almost the breakthrough, but the freshman, what a stop. We remain 0-0. It has been all Georgetown in every category, yet the scoreboard reads scoreless thus far. And if you're Seton Hall, you would love to take that into the halftime locker room. Still a lot of soccer to be played for that to happen. Jermino Watnick, give and go with Carolyn. The seniors combine now. Jermino Watnick to the 6, and it's laid away again. They keep on banging on the door. Do these Georgetown Hoyas. Richards to the back post. And they're able to win a corner. How about this senior class, a 7-member group that has lost in the Big East only 4 times in their careers, 35, 4, and 11. 2 wins away from becoming the winningest class in program history right now with 76 victories. And you think about it, they've been to the College Cup twice. Just incredible. Here's the feed from Richards, and it'll just lead to another corner. Richards again. Edge of the box. Less than 18 minutes left in this opening half. And this all-time senior class at Georgetown trying to put together a fitting W on senior day. Talking with Dave Nolan earlier this week, he said that this class is one of his best success stories because of how much the players have evolved. Here's Carolyn. To the right edge of the box. In a scramble here now, the feed blocked and for another corner. The reason why Nolan has so much pride in this class is not just because of their record, but he said they had to come in and wait to get their playing time as Maya Fernandez-Powell, the sophomore, comes on. He said when you think about players like Rachel Corbose, Caitlin Farrell, and those are just 2 names for starters, he said that means you had to play behind them as the header's laid into the far post and kept away for now. Another bullet to the right side. Make it 8 shots for the Georgetown Hoyas. Feed in from Richards. Well taken header. And on the rebound, Iselek unable to get it on target. And we play on scoreless here in our nation's capital. Arleno to the outside. Laid away for a goal kick. When you come into this program, though, as you look at Navarrete, who gets the start today, the junior getting some work, you think about the fact that Dave Nolan has tallied 61 all Big East accolades when you combine every player that he's coached. 21 Big East All-Tournament team honorees, and several outstanding player award winners. This is the most amazing statistic. At least I think it's amazing. Here's a ball fed forward. Johnsdotter off her line to just vacuum it up. In 7 of the last 9 seasons, Dave Nolan has had the Big East Midfielder of the Year. That's incredible. This is a conference that's loaded with star talent and midfielders galore that can make great plays. Think about Sam Dewey and what she can do for Xavier. She was one of the country's leading goal scorers earlier this year. And the list goes on and on. Butler's had those as well. As here's a laser to the far end. Yet Georgetown has been at the top of the mountain in this league. do that again, they're going to have to win here today to give themselves the shot on Thursday. The good news for the Hoyas is they own the tiebreaker over Xavier with a win over the Musketeers. Now the feed towards the 6 and headed back. Nally had it for a moment. It's been a clean played half with the ball being in Seton Hall's defensive third for the most part. We haven't seen any real chippiness. Georgetown, you can sense that they realize what Seton Hall has to do here, as the Pirates have been playing in their defending third. They've had to be back on their heels, so they're sending numbers back there to stay in it. This is going to take composure from the Hoyas. It's not a Seton Hall team that poses much of a counterattack threat. They've scored just 5 goals in a total of 14 matches. There's a service for Jai Smith to try to get to, but Livingstone was all over it. She's got great range defensively. See the scoreboard coming in. Villanova over Providence, 1-0. And that's a huge win for the Wildcats, while Creighton's up 1-0 on St. John's. And if Creighton wins that one, that sets up a huge showdown with Villanova on Thursday in Omaha. That said, for Villanova and Chris McLean's group, that's a good bounce back in Friartown after they lost a late lead to St. John's, dropping that one 4-3. They needed that. The goal for the Wildcats was to make the Big East tournament this year, and they felt like anything less was a failure with where they are as a program. That's a big win in Providence. And if Creighton can hang on at St. John's, sets up for an interesting regular season finale out in Omaha to cap off the regular season. Sophie Fox, the freshman, comes on for Paula Germino-Watnick here with 11.5 left in the opening stanza. This is the most sustained we've seen Seton Hall possess the ball in their attacking half. A near misstep. Now it's taken away. What we're seeing is the margin for error is thin, and the gap between the teams in this conference is even thinner. While Georgetown has controlled this opening half, it's scoreless against a Seton Hall team that doesn't have a win in league play. For the Hoyas, they're looking for that breakthrough, and Dave Nolan feels like if they could just find it, it could lead to even more. Here's a long ball to the area. John's daughter eating it up. 10 minutes left in a first half. It hasn't featured that breakthrough yet. There's another ball laid in, headed away. And Olowski this time getting to it. The senior will celebrate her senior night Thursday in her Pirate finale. 6 Eastern time kick when the Hall hosts Providence. dramatic Halloween night in Big East women's soccer to close out the regular season. Make sure you bring your candy with you. All 5 on the Big East Digital Network. The arrow in favor of Georgetown. It's the official points, and it's been a familiar sign for our cameramen here today. They've been in the Georgetown attacking third. When is that breakthrough going to come? It feels big here in the last 8.5 minutes for Georgetown to try to find it, or else, you know the stakes of this match. You're scoreless in your last 2. How uncommon is it for Georgetown to go scoreless in 5 consecutive halves? Based on the tenor of this match, Seton Hall hasn't been able to put up any sort of an offensive threat. Down the left side, Richards, one of the 7 seniors. One of the most tactical players for this team is here's Amanda Carolyn. Carolyn laying it in, nobody home. Now it's Richards and Jai Smith, and the Pirate freshman trying to get it through her. Laid back to the other end. Oh, Seton Hall tracking that pretty well. Good job that time by Rizkowski to make her work for it. 7 minutes to go in the first half. We've seen Georgetown put up a couple of dangerous threats. The one that comes to mind, Jermina Watnick's shot about halfway through the first half. Beautiful left-footed strike that went off the right post and sailed away to the right side. Wasn't able to cut in. This time it'll be a Seton Hall throw-in as they avoid allowing a corner. Pirates and Hoyas both go to their benches. Lizzie Kirk, the sophomore midfielder, comes on. Gia Vicari coming in for the Hoyas, a freshman from Reading, PA. A couple underclassmen entering in as here's a corner now for, rather a throw-in for the Pirates. This is the deepest that they've had it. And headed out, and that gives way to the first Seton Hall corner. Corner kick, Pirates. With less than 6 left in this first half, a half controlled by Georgetown, Seton Hall gets an opportunity. A laser to the 6 and headed away. Seton Hall head coach Kira Krinian saying it's going to be tough to execute in the air against this Hoya team because of the length that they have. They've got so many physical players that just have a head above you with the way they play. Navarrete not getting tested at all in this opening half. Dave Nolan and his staff wanting to give the junior keeper the opportunity here today. She played in 10 minutes a season ago. That ball laid ahead by Fox, but John's daughter will lead it up and allow those seconds to tick down here with less than 5 to go from Shaw Field. Georgetown 4 points behind in the Big East standings to first place Xavier, and the Hoyas needing a win to stay on pace with the Musketeers. This could get interesting here as we go deeper. If they go into the half with a scoreless affair, you wonder how that changes the mentality aspect of this match, if it changes at all. With the way that Georgetown was banging and banging on the door in the opening 25 minutes of this one, it's obviously a little bit challenging to sustain that type of attack. And you want to get your reward. Let's see if it can happen here in the last 4 minutes of the half. They're closing in, that's for sure. Menta came on about halfway through the first half. Junior, that's been the theme for Seton Hall. Gets into their defending box, and they've been happy with laying it away. This one sailing out for a Seton Hall throw-in with 3 minutes left in the first half. Coming up on the Big East Halftime Show, we'll look at 40 years of the conference, which celebrates its 40-year anniversary throughout this 2019 year. You'll get a great look at a vignette of the history of this league, which started in 1979, founded by Dave Gavitt, as here's a ball eaten up by Navarrete. We'll also have a piece on diversity and inclusion. The NCAA making great strides in that, and the Big East all part of those efforts and the recent social media campaign. And we'll take a look at the top players in the conference from the last week, all coming up on the Big East Digital Network Halftime Report. The freshman goalkeeper for Seton Hall, Harpa John's daughter. We told you about how much she's gotten challenged this year. Had a standout performance against Delaware earlier this season with the 11 saves. Seton Hall actually playing 3 different goalkeepers last week because the freshman's confidence just wasn't in a great place. That said, it says something about her ability to get back in there, and now, at least through the first 43 minutes of this one, she's kept the 14th ranked team in America scoreless. Jai Smith doubled. And Smith loses it. Nally, just great field vision to switch the field and feed it back. Menta down the right side. That one just stayed in front of the flag. It will be a throw-in. Final minute of this opening half. The stakes, Georgetown 4 points behind Xavier in the Big East standings. Hoyas sitting with 14 points. Xavier now with 18 after the win over DePaul. So Georgetown needs to win to keep their Big East regular season title hopes alive. All top of the box. A series of headers here. That one off the face of Smith, still in the box. And the official stopping things as Smith got hit. Ball colliding with her head. And with 30 ticks left in the opening half, we get our first stoppage. Freshman coming off with the trainer. Looks like the trainer just making sure she's okay and she can come back on. Just took a stinger. We'll also have a look at the goal that decided Xavier and DePaul in Cincinnati. Jenna Prathapa delivering for the Musketeers, and Nate Lee's crew staying atop the table in the Big East standings. Plenty coming up at the half. Our great Rush Media crew all over it. Brian Krieger, Sam Rubinoff, Dagan Hughes, a cast of thousands. here in our nation's capital this afternoon. Seton Hall with nothing to lose. 0-7 in the Big East, but you wouldn't know it by the way that they fought. We are going into the half scoreless. Georgetown in a must-win situation for their Big East regular season title hopes. And the Seton Hall Pirates are giving them a fight. 0-0 at the break in our nation's capital. The drama rises here in D.C. Harper Johnsdaughter keeping the 14th ranked Hoyas off the board. And Georgetown's regular season title hopes an interesting situation at the break.
What can great minds do?
While at Seton Hall, I interned with the Superior Court of New Jersey, and that inspired me to go to law school.
I am a physics and civil engineering major, and I want to work on infrastructure in underdeveloped countries.
I'm the news director at one of the top college radio stations in the country.
I'm working with my professor on research that could help athletes during sudden cardiac events.
I started my own business, Classic Soccer Cleats, and I just sold it to a company in England.
Come see for yourself what great minds can do.
At the half, Georgetown and Seton Hall scoreless. The Big East celebrating 40 years this year, and there's an amazing history behind this conference, which started in 1979. Let's take a look.
When my time came to stop coaching, I was very fortunate that I didn't have to go cold turkey. I was able to start the Big East Conference, and we came across the sky like a meteor.
One recruiting year that they hadn't really turned everything around was the Ewing, Mullen, Pinckney recruiting year. It changed the face of Eastern basketball probably forever.
October 31st at 2 p.m.
We just believed in ourselves and a lot of hard work on everybody's part.
Every March, Madison Square Garden is home to everything that is college basketball.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
What? How's the weather? Yeah. It's snowing out. It's a blizzard, but we ain't gonna stop.
Rightly, there were questions early on about whether the Big East could withstand the test of reconfiguration, and I think if you were here, we've done that and more.
It's a monster league now. Last man standing, bring the flag. Tough to coach in, but great for spectators and great to play in. The march of the Big East goes on.
One of the positives about the sports business in the last couple of years, and in recent years in particular, has been the growing interest in seeing our industry become a more diverse and inclusive place.
I find it important for us to amplify the voices of those who have not traditionally had a seat at the table. As a Black African woman, my various social identities are always at the forefront of my daily interactions. from my first name, my culture, to where I'm from. So for me, diversity is about us celebrating our uniqueness as a society.
A lot of what happens in terms of diversifying workforce in the college world happens at the campus level. That's really where the core hiring takes place. The schools are responsible for hiring their directors of athletics, their staffs, their coaches. And so the conference is really a step away from that activity, but I think conferences can and should set a tone. And so in the Big East, we have tried to make diversity and inclusion a conference strategic priority. We have, for example, within our conference SAC group, designated a diversity and inclusion officer. D&I has become an important topic of discussion at SAC meetings. And our D&I officer is now included into the conference-wide diversity and inclusion working group that we've created.
I currently serve as the conference's Student Athlete Advisory Committee's Diversity and Inclusion Officer. This position is charged with ensuring that the conference carries out its commitment to inclusion for all, and I assist the conference staff in creating opportunities for student athletes from different backgrounds to come together to share and exchange ideas. I also work closely with the Big East Diversity and Inclusion Working Group.
You know, when I think about diversity, I think about the fact that diversity is a fact. When we think about inclusion, we think about inclusion being a choice. And I think if we can succeed in anything at the Big East is to impress upon everyone how inclusion isn't just a choice but a responsibility.
The Big East is committed to continuing the development of programs and initiatives that support diverse and inclusive environments for our student athletes, coaches, staff, and communities.
What can great minds do?
While at Seton Hall, I interned with the Superior Court of New Jersey, and that inspired me to go to law school.
I am a physics and civil engineering major, and I want to work on infrastructure in underdeveloped countries.
I'm the news director at one of the top college radio stations in the country.
I'm working with my professor on research that could help athletes during sudden cardiac events.
I started my own business, Classic Soccer Cleats, and I just sold it to a company in England.
Come see for yourself what great minds can do.
It's turned out to be a tremendous day for Big East soccer. Thus far, through 45, Georgetown and Seton Hall scoreless in a game that the Hoyas must win to keep their Big East regular season title hopes alive. Let's take a look at some first half numbers. Georgetown controlled possession. You see they controlled the shots. They had the 2 threats on target. That said, what matters is that it's scoreless and that the Hoyas' scoreless stretch now has reached 5 straight halves. That is stunning when you think about Amanda Carolyn and Paula Germino-Wana combining for 15 goals on the year. Let's look at the rest of the Big East Conference. Several stars in this league. Alyssa Bombasino is one of them. She has been tremendous for Marquette. 2 hat tricks on the year. And then for Butler, Annika Schmidt helped the Dogs to the Georgetown shutout last weekend. And Elite, the Hoyas freshman, gets the day off today for Alyssa Navarrete, but she is a Big East Freshman of the Year candidate. Then Shelby Hogan in goal for Providence. She is such a driving force in the cage for the Friars. We take a look at the honor roll. Samantha Dewey and Xavier. That's who stands out on the honor roll because the Musketeers just came out with a win over DePaul. What a victory for them to get up to 18 points in the Big East. Now a point ahead of Butler in the conference standings. And here's a look at the hero, Jenna Prathapa. Oh, what a goal. Soaring high into the air and finding a way past the DePaul keeper for Xavier to win over DePaul in the final minute of regulation. The Musketeers are in first. Georgetown, they are now 4 points behind the Musketeers, and their seniors are looking to drive them to a win today. Work to be done. We'll talk about that senior class next.
What can great minds do?
While at Seton Hall, I interned with the Superior Court of New Jersey, and that inspired me to go to law school.
I am a physics and civil engineering major, and I want to work on infrastructure in underdeveloped countries.
I'm the news director at one of the top college radio stations in the country.
I'm working with my professor on research that could help athletes during sudden cardiac events.
I started my own business, Classic Soccer Cleats, and I just sold it to a company in England.
Come see for yourself what great minds can do.
Getting set for the second half between the Seton Hall Pirates as they are visiting the 14th ranked Georgetown Hoyas. This Hoyas senior class, winningest in program history, a 7-member group that has been a part of 2 College Cup efforts. Nobody has been on stages like these more than this Georgetown senior class in the history of this program. You look at Paula Germino-Watnick, 76 wins, and now they need a 77th to hang in the Big East regular season title race. Looking for a four-peat in the Big East tournament, which kicks off next Sunday. Semifinals on November 7th, the final on November 10th. On the other side is Seton Hall with nothing to lose. Kira Crinion's group would like to come in here and spoil the Hoyas' hopes. Harpa Johnsdottir keeping Georgetown off the board thus far. And for Seton Hall, they could use a program moment to take with them into the off-season lifting sessions, into those workout sessions, those early mornings when nobody's watching. Right now, everybody's watching in Big East women's soccer because the last place team in the league is showing just how tough it is to win in this league. Second half underway. Great to be with you as you take a look at some of the scores. Xavier now with 18 points. Butler with 17. The East Georgetown Hoyas with 14. And now the Hoyas must win. A draw won't do for their regular season title hopes as here's a ball up ahead for Germino-Watnick. Paula Germino-Watnick laying it back. Devin Liss up ahead to Germino-Watnick. Germino-Watnick with the feed into 6. It's still out in front. A bullet. It did not cross the goal line. Down the right side, and the Pirates survive for now. We'll take another look here. This gets tight at the 6. It never crossed. Carolyn to it, but they're still knocking on the door now as Seton Hall just lays it off into the crowd. Wow. Carolyn and Johnsdottir facing off. There are two players to watch at the top of the show, colliding here. Somehow Johnsdottir has found a way to keep him off the board. Royson feeds it in. Laid away. We said it only felt like a matter of time. That said, it's still scoreless. Somehow, some way, the Seton Hall Pirates are staying alive. A team that only has 5 goals on the year. If they give up one, it could be a backbreaker. It will be a Seton Hall throw-in. That was off Royson. Now the official pointing in favor of Georgetown here. Left side of the Pirate box. We've yet to see Seton Hall get a shot on target. Fed across. Here's Jai Smith. Smith with some space and cut off. Great job by Nally. That was actually Livingstone who stepped in. The junior is such a stout player. She just doesn't give you any room. And she cuts you off so quickly. We've talked about Germino-Watnick and Carolyn. This Georgetown backline in the 3-5-2 has so many unsung heroes. As Germino-Watnick tracked that down. Now puts on a move. Another move by the senior. She's controlled the tone of this match. From distance, right into the gut of the freshman keeper, Johnsdottir. 9 shots for these Hoyas. Royson out wide. Got a step. Now Royson inside the 6-yard box for only a moment. It feels like it's a matter of when, not if, just because Georgetown has been absolutely bludgeoning Seton Hall into the Hoyas' attacking box. But Seton Hall's got a freshman keeper who's been determined. Trissel with the cross! Jermino Watnick flaring it up over the cage. Offside called anyways. It would be so fitting if it's Jermino Watnick who ends up coming up with the breakthrough because of how well she's played. She's absolutely dominated the way that this game's gone. But it's not that easy. And Dave Nolan said it before this match. In this league, nothing comes easy. John Stauder eating it up. Richards up ahead. Here's Jermino Watnick again. Paul on the outside. Now the feed! This one sails high from Royson. Another great look. Jermino Watnick with 8 assists on the year. This could have been number 9. Well, I don't think they can get much closer than where they are right now. Here's another header forward. And Seton Hall just trying to survive. Jermino Watnick goes to the turf, and it'll be a throw-in. This feels like a game of Jenga right now. Because Seton Hall's just finding ways to get some pieces on the bottom back up to the top, and the tower is shaking and jittering. And for now, on the other side, though, there's a different jittering because Georgetown has to win this match. They're so not used to being left off the scoreboard. But it's like any sport. If you get into a bit of a funk, sometimes it means that you have to find that one breakthrough to get out of it. Like a hitter at the plate. World Series on Fox tonight, 7:30. Here in our nation's capital. First time since 1933. They're hosting the Fall Classic, and even at 2 apiece. That should be fun tonight. Washington trying to respond. So are the Hoyas here. Trissel. Jermino Watnick back to Trissel, and that's fed high and wide. Now Dave Nolan up and out of the chair. At 1 high. 16th year head coach. We told you about what he's been able to do year in and year out. Now 13 straight double-digit win seasons. Jermino Watnick with the service. It's at the top of the box. That shot blocked. Now back to the senior, Jermino Watnick. Trying to find goal number 7, and in the scramble, it will be a goal kick. The senior from Chevy Chase, Maryland. Just 5'3" on the roster sheet, but she plays much bigger than that for these Hoyas, and has today. I don't think you could make much more of an impact on a game without a goal than Paula Germino-Watnick has here today. Whether it comes on an assist or something, you'd have to think it has to do with her, just with the way she's controlled it. Dave Nolan told us before this one that the first 15 minutes would be crucial, and Georgetown came knocking on the door. In the first minute, they had a shot. But he said, if we allow this to remain scoreless, sometimes things get out of your control. As here's a feed ahead just on the range of Germino-Watnick for John's daughter to eat it up. Back to Smith. Smith feeding it ahead, and Georgetown's all over it. That's the thing. The tone of this game just says, when is Georgetown going to find the breakthrough? Because Seton Hall simply hasn't been able to get in their attacking third. Here's Germino-Watnick. It was fed for Nislek, never got to her. Carolyn lays it off to the left side. Now here's a feed that's harmless. These fans who have come out for senior day, waiting for something to stand up and cheer about. They've had so much to cheer about throughout the last 3 years for these seniors. They'd like a moment here. It just feels like it's only a matter of time until dinner is served. But they're still waiting. Winning the ball back is Nislek. Dave Nolan calls Carson a tone setter, one who sets the rhythm for us. Doesn't get a lot of credit, but you don't realize how much she means until she's off the field. Now out wide again. Georgetown looking for the breakthrough. It's deflected back out. Outside of the box here. That shot rejected off the boot of Nislek. Devin Liss lays it off to Trissel, who goes out wide. And again, Seton Hall spent this whole match, and they're defending third. Now laid outside. And again, Seton Hall just sending it away. They push it on back now. Ball fed ahead and bulleted away. Another big thing to consider here today is Georgetown is without the Big East leader in assists, Boo Jackson, who suffered an injury against DePaul. Jackson with those 9 dishes, she and Germino-Watnick combining for 17. And so that just magnifies Germino-Watnick's presence even more. Tough to lose a player as good as Jackson, as here's a ball fed to Carolyn. Amanda Carolyn looking for the breakthrough off the face of John's daughter to keep it scoreless still. It's still in the box and laid away for corner. Here's Carolyn closing in, looking for her 10th. And John's daughter again, how much more of a beating can she take? Germino-Watnick laying it in. Well taken corner. Headed back out for the goal kick. Harpa Johnsdaughter, the player to watch for Seton Hall, is the reason why this match is scoreless. Royson with a run. Just came on. And Royson intercepted for the time being here. Nizelek feeding it over. Left side. Carolyn and a bullet from distance. High. And the drama rises, because now you've got 30 minutes left in regulation. And if you're Georgetown, you're facing a must-win. This will surprise most. If you're just joining us, number 14 Georgetown getting a fight from Seton Hall as the flag's up for Jermino Watnick. She's got to have a little bit of frustration naturally just because of how close she's come. Georgetown with 13 shots. Seton Hall, none. This is a Seton Hall program that under Kira Krinian gave a really good fight against a Creighton team that led here at Georgetown 2-love when those two met in DC. And Coach Krinian told her group, look what you can do. You were in it with Creighton. You made them work. Here it is now, fed in, Johnsdaughter eating it up. She said, you've got to use that and try to capitalize off it with 2 matches left to play. She said, we have nothing to lose coming into today. This team's got a lot of underclassmen, a lot of developing pieces. They've had some injuries, Siobhan McGovern being a main one. And that's led to a challenge. But you've got Izzy Engel in the midfield. You've got Analowski who can score. Here's a feed to Jermino Watnick. Paula Jermino Watnick! Wide right on the shot. Was looking for her 7th, and they continue to stay scoreless. All Dave Nolan can do is watch and pace.
Getting the bench here, Hoyas number 20, Caitlin Moon. Replacing number 20, Casey Richards.
This is really something that Georgetown, the way that they've put pressure on here, is not able to find that breakthrough quite yet. 27 minutes left now on the regulation clock. Since laid to the opposite end. Johnsdaughter. As you just heard, Caitlin Moon coming on, the sophomore forward. Coming on for Casey Richards. Here is Moon. Moon with space. Nice move by the sophomore. And Caitlin Moon laid off to the top of the box. Back out wide. Carolyn ranging to it. She's not going to get there quite in time. And we remain scoreless here with just over 26 left. Nizelek from distance, and it rolls right into the hands of Johnsdaughter. Oh, has she had a tough day with just how much she's faced. This has been where all those days in August of long training sessions, 2-a-days, are worth it because this has taken so much out of the freshman keeper to keep them off the board. And with the humidity in the air, with Georgetown's urgency in this one, that's a big factor here as this match goes on. Smith trying to find her way, and the advantage whistled in favor of the Pirates. So a set piece opportunity for Seton Hall. And this one harmless. Navarrette's all over it. Alyssa Navarrette, the junior, getting the start today for Anna Lead, who's been so good this season for Georgetown. A Big East Freshman of the Year candidate. Goalkeeper of the Year candidate as well. Should take a look at the scores. How about the statement made by Butler? 3-0. The Bulldogs, while Georgetown's had their number in the recent years and in the matchups between the two, as you see Creighton and St. John's draw 1-1. Middle of the box. Smith. Seton Hall without a shot today, and there's a look from the Pirates. That one not even any sort of a threat as they go to the bench. Reszkowski. Reszkowski, a junior forward. At this point, if you're Reszkowski, you're just hoping for an opportunity to get the ball in some space as she replaces Sigurda Daughter. Taken back by Nizelek. Can they find the breakthrough here? Georgetown with 15 shots. Carolyn looking for goal number 10. It's fed ahead now for Georgetown. The breakthrough for the Hoyas! 1-0 Georgetown. Jenna Royson does it for Georgetown. Goal number 4 of the year for Royson. The feed from Carolyn, and the left-footed strike finally gives the Hoyas the 1-0 lead. Their 16th shot proves to be lucky. They finally find that right end of fortune, and Royson breaking through off Carolyn's 6th dish of the season. First time Georgetown scored in 5.5 halves, in a moment that they absolutely needed. Royson receiving the dish from Carolyn and finding a way.
Start the clock.
Oh. The sophomore. Did they need that or what? And how about Carolyn, what she does for this group? She's got 6 assists on the year. Her teammate Jermina Watnick with 8. And with Jackson Hurd, they had 3 of the top 10 assist leaders in the Big East Conference. This time Royson striking. Part of the future of this program. As just a sophomore, a Toms River, New Jersey native, not far from Seton Hall University. Well, now 22 and change left. And with Georgetown up 1-0, Seton Hall with 5 goals on the season in 14 matches. That puts the Pirates in a deep hole. With the way that this game's been played, it's deeper than your typical 1-0 game. Dave Nolan felt like if his Georgetown group could get one, that maybe the floodgates could open. Let's see if that happens here. Finally, a chink in the armor shown by Seton Hall. They were stopping several dangerous threats, even more dangerous than that one on the goal just moments ago. Menta feeds it in, the header! And that's two! It's Carolyn with her 10th of the season! 2-0 Georgetown! The floodgates have now opened up. Menta with the feed. Carolyn cracking it in. Goal number 10. One of the top scorers in the league steps up on the feed. And at the 6, lays it in. Cushion found. Georgetown in control. With that, Royson coming off. She just delivered for the Hoyas.
Georgetown goal scored by number 7.
Amanda Carolyn with 10 tallies on the year. Now an assist and a goal, 3 points here, and there's still 21 minutes and change.
Entering the match here is number 20, Casey Richards, replacing number 3.
Casey Richards coming on for Royson. Richards on her senior day. And it was starting to get a little bit tight here. 60 minutes in, but now Georgetown has been able to find it. Up 2-0. $20 minutes and change left. John Fanta here with you from Shaw Field on a day that meant for Georgetown a get-right game, an opportunity for them to find themselves. Well, through one half, Seton Hall kept them scoreless, but the number 14 team in the country has come roaring back. And up 2-0, if things hold, the Hoyas are going to enter their regular season finale, 1, knowing that they're heading back to the Big East tournament, and 2, with an opportunity to win a regular season crown. They'll play before a huge, a mammoth Xavier Butler showdown, as the Musketeers have 18 points in the conference standings, and Butler with 17. Here's a look at the upcoming schedule. Celebrate Halloween with Big East Women's Soccer Judgment Day. You see 2 of the matches featured there. And then next Saturday on the men's side, Providence and Xavier will be really intriguing. 2 teams that are right in the middle of the logjam. DePaul visiting St. John's at Belson Stadium. The Johnnies drawing Seton Hall yesterday. And now down the left side here, Georgetown looking for a third potentially. Nobody there in transition. John Stoddard getting rid of it. Jai Smith up the field. This has certainly been a valiant effort by Seton Hall, a Seton Hall team that is in a total rebuild as a program under a first-year head coach in Kira Krinian. As here's a ball to the right side and nothing doing that time. Well, the weather today, kind of a reflection of the way that this game has gone for Georgetown in the first half. a flood of opportunities, and it was just delaying the inevitable. The skies parted, the sun came out, and for Georgetown, the sun has come out for their offense, up 2-0. It's been a pretty picture as the day's gone on after a tough start in which they had every opportunity in the book, but now they've found those results. Amanda Carolyn does so much for this program. Ultra talented. Dave Nolan calling her one of the greatest kids he's ever coached here. That says a lot, because you're talking about a program that's made the last 7 NCAA tournaments, that knows how to get it done in November and beyond. Carolyn, her selfless energy that she brings to this program, it speaks for itself. This ball in the back post. Nobody there on the other end. Left side of the box laid out. 16 and a half left. Remember, after the match, we'll have an interview with a winning player, potentially a Hoya, perhaps a couple of Hoyas on this senior day. A momentous one for this program. And so you'll have to wait and see who we've got here on the Big East Digital Network. Stay tuned after for reaction if Georgetown can hang on an emotional senior day. Certainly not the last time that they'll play here. They're right back at it on Thursday against St. John's. That, a battle between two longtime friends, Dave Nolan, Ian Stone. They like to text each other with jokes and sarcasm throughout the season here and there, but you will not see them or hear of them calling or texting this week. It's all business when they meet. Two legends in this league squaring off on Thursday afternoon in our nation's capital. What Ian Stone's done late in this season for St. John's with a group that's young, has a star in Johnny Kajan. It says a lot about the perseverance of St. John's women's soccer. That's the kind of program that they are. They do make you work, and even though this has been a year of rebuilding and retooling for them, they will offer the Hoyas a test. Less than 15 to go. The goals coming inside the last 15 minutes. The breakthrough from Jenna Royson, her 4th of the year, coming from Carolyn, who then struck with a header for her 10th. Sent in from Menta. Ball deflected off a Pirate and lasered ahead. You talk about roles and mentality in a conference, and for Georgetown, they've won the last 3 Big East tournament titles, and they're looking for a 3rd straight regular season crown. Yet, when you sustain everything that they've sustained, here on the left side, Menta, who had the assist just moments ago to Carolyn, when you've sustained the success at the level that they've sustained it at, it's not as if you get complacent. That's not the way of this program. But it's so tough to sustain that greatness in a conference that's loaded with parity throughout the middle and teams that can win on any given day. Perhaps this is the prescription that Georgetown needed to maybe get challenged, face something that they haven't faced in a while, and that is to be in the role of the hunter instead of the hunted. And today they've come out in this second half. They've kept banging on the door, and the hunter in the Hoyas has led to this 2-0 lead. Which is a good time to tell you about the postseason coming up in Big East Fall Sports. Postseason tickets are now available for 2 Big East Fall Championships presented by Jeep. For tickets to the Big East Women's Soccer Championship semis and final in Omaha, Nebraska, November 7th and 10th, head to bigeast.com/WSOC tickets. For tickets to the Big East Field Hockey Championship hosted by Quinnipiac, November 8th and 10th, you can head to bigeast.com/FH tickets. We will be heading to Omaha next week. Jermina Watnick lays it over the left side, and now the laser over the top of the cage. John's daughter. Looking at Seton Hall, they're in a rebuild under Kira Krinian. But what today says is that a team that really doesn't have much more to play for than pride, that they've embraced their first-year head coach, and they're playing hard. They're down 2-0. Yeah, Georgetown has controlled this one, as many expected, but it was scoreless at the half. John's daughter's really stepped up, and she's just a freshman. To think she's a freshman and she's come up with some of the saves she has today, there's some good things to take out of this one if you're Seton Hall, because you have to go into an off season and say to yourself, okay, how do we start to build a culture towards winning? Well, before you win, you're not just going to go 0 to 180 in this league, not with Georgetown, a team that's been to 2 of the last 3 college cups. Here's a ball fed forward, and the cherry on top for the Hoyas. Jenna Menta makes it 3-0 Georgetown. Menta getting in from behind. Nizalek lays it ahead, and Jenna Menta puts the icing on the cake. Her 3rd goal of the year after tallying her 4th assist earlier. 3 goals in the last 20 minutes, and the Hoyas with a trio. Royson, Carolyn, Menta, and the party is on.
Entering the match for your Hoyas, number 11, Maya Fernandez-Powell. Replacing number 10, Paula Jermina.
On this senior day, most successful decorated class in program history has now gotten their reward. Here's a header. Top of the box. That one sails high towards the hotel on campus here. Dave Nolan going back to his bench with Sophie Fox coming on. Fox, the freshman, for Amanda Carolyn, who gets a round of applause. What a career she's had. Think about Amanda Carolyn. 63 starts at forward, has made 83 appearances now, and has recorded 81 points over her 5 years on the Hilltop. Think about that. 81 points! 4th on the all-time list with 33 career goals now. She was named the Big East Freshman of the Year back in 2016. Her parents, Jim and Lori, here today, and earned her master's, earning it rather, in applied intelligence at Georgetown. The captain heading to the bench, to the ovation, and rightly so, as here's Menta on the outside. Scramble for it now. It's cut off. Moon got to it. 8 minutes left. Lease comes up, makes a play. Moon. Fernandez-Powell. They rotate it well. Here's Trissel. Trissel to the outside. It's Moon. And Moon lasers one of the 6. It was out in the open for Menta. Now to the back. A liner that flares off the post. They haven't let up. They've now outscored Seton Hall in the last 8 meetings, 37-0. As Brian Krieger, our producer, notes, that's a 4.625 goals per game average. That math is beyond my brain. Thanks to the guys with the calculators in the truck. On the right side here, it's Caitlin Moon who brings the sunshine. 4-0 Hoyas. That's Moon's 2nd of the year. And the sophomore pouring it on. Moon past John's daughter. Great run from the sophomore. You're looking at the future of this program now, which turns out greatness in the Big East under that man, Dave Nolan. Now he's relieved. He can take a seat and be happy about his Hoyas. His day started with a Liverpool win. That's his team. And Caitlin Moon with her 2nd of the year. She'll be relied upon here. You need depth down the stretch. In her 10th game played this year, the sophomore shows us what she can do.
Entering the match for the Pirates, number 11. Saga Sigurdardottir, replacing number 21. Alyssa Vaskensku. Entering the match for your Hoyas, number 26. Alexis Smith, replacing number 22. Caitlin Moon.
Here's Alexis Smith down the right side now, coming on for Moon. Smith, the sophomore. Smith trying to win it. 5.5 left. What a day for these Georgetown Hoyas. Royson finding the back of the net to get the breakthrough, then moments later, Carolyn, after an assist, scores a goal. 81 career points now for her. Menta kept it rolling, her 4th of the year, and then Caitlin Moon making it 4 with her 2nd of the campaign. Fernandez-Powell lining up for this one. To the near post, and that one wide right here as the minutes wane down here in our nation's capital. Big day in our nation's capital with the Marine Corps Marathon, and you've got This matchup here, Georgetown Women's Soccer Senior Day. World Series tonight, DC's rocking. They're telling me Max Scherzer is scratched. Joe Ross is starting for the Nationals from the update desk in our truck. World Series evened up. We're giving you all the updates in this 4-0 affair with 3.5 left. And Georgetown going back to the bench, it's Devin Liss. Devin, just a sophomore from Princeton, New Jersey. Dave Nolan has a lot of success recruiting up in the metropolitan area. He graduated from Seton Hall. He knows Jersey well. Spent a year on the staff in '98 before coming over here in '99. You think about it, Liss, Caitlin Moon, Alexis Smith. There's some sophomores here that are talented and that play a vital role. Fernandez Powell, they're going to be relied upon here. And Dave Nolan feels like his program is going to be tested in a big way next year because of the amount that Jermino Watnick and Carolyn have done. And so it's tough to compensate for that. That said, this program seems to just reload every year. They lost Corbose and Farrell. Hasn't really mattered in terms of not their significance. They were great players, but hasn't mattered in terms of the way the results have gone. It's amazing how consistent this program is. They're a machine. Right side of the box here for Seton Hall. That initial look was blocked, and then it's laid off for a corner. Maybe you take something positive out if you can find a goal. If you're the Pirates, it would be their 6th on the year. It's Sigurdadottir taking it. Into it to the far post, nothing there. Headed away, Sigurdadottir again, and back out. Final 2 minutes here. Remember, we've got interviews coming up after the match with the Hoyas on their senior day. We'll have a couple of seniors. Now the throw in here from Kaza. Here's one that's laid across, and this one out. What a performance by these Georgetown Hoyas, 4-0. They have dominated this second half and really the game. It was scoreless at the break. But man, just incredible what these Hoyas have been able to do. Their persistence speaks for itself. It is special. And they are in the hunt for the Big East regular season crown. Here's how things will look. Xavier with 18 points, Butler with 17. But those two teams meet on Thursday. If Xavier wins, they win the Big East regular season crown. But that will be a tall task in Indianapolis. For Georgetown, they'll need a win over St. John's. Well, they'll need a win over St. John's, period, because if the two draw, that wouldn't get Georgetown over Xavier, if Xavier and Butler drew and Georgetown drew. But the Hoyas will go into the regular season finale knowing they're heading back to the Big East tournament and with a shot to win their 3rd straight Big East regular season title. Georgetown 4, Seton Hall 0. A fitting senior day performance for these Hoyas who dominate their way to win number 11 on their 2019 season. Interviews to come with a couple of seniors as Georgetown rolls out a great performance on senior day. 4-0 over Seton Hall. Stay tuned for reaction and more on the Big East Digital Network.
great minds do?
While at Seton Hall, I interned with the Superior Court of New Jersey, and that inspired me to go to law school.
I am a physics and civil engineering major, and I want to work on infrastructure in underdeveloped countries.
I'm the news director at one of the top college radio stations in the country.
I'm working with my professor on research that could help athletes during sudden cardiac events.
I started my own business, Classic Soccer Cleats, and I just sold it to a company in England.
Come see for yourself what great minds can do.
On Georgetown Women's Soccer Senior Day, the seniors drive them to a 4-0 win over Seton Hall. We're joined by Amanda Carolyn and Megan Nally. Amanda, you had 15 shots and were controlling this game. Then on the 16th, you strike with the assist, finding Jenna Royson for the goal. Then you score a goal yourself. How rewarding was it to finally get on the board?
Felt really good. We went into halftime saying that we just needed to keep our performance up. We had to keep the ball. It was going to come. The less pressure we put on ourselves, the better we were going to perform. So we just focused on maintaining that level of play and trusting that it was going to come.
Megan, what's it say about the mentality of this team that you could hang in, persevere, and then break through?
I mean, like last year we kind of took on the name Stingy Hoyas, where we just kind of keep sticking around, keeping our shutout and keep knocking on the door. So I think we just continue to be stingy and know it's going to come, trust it's going to come, and it will.
Why has this senior class been able to deliver at such an amazing success rate?
I think throughout our career we've had incredible role models. They've created big shoes for us to fill, and each year we've stepped into them knowing what the expectations are and making sure that we hold the younger classes to the same standard.
When she's on like she was today, what kind of a difference does it make on the field?
I mean, it comforts me as a defender because I know if I don't let any goals in, we'll be good. She'll take care of business up there.
I know that you two still have a lot of goals left to achieve in the postseason, but I want to give you both a chance to reflect on your careers and the moment today walking with your families on the field.
It's been absolutely amazing. I mean, this program, what it's done for me, it's helped me fall in love with the game more. It's make my dreams a reality, and the people is what makes it. I've never laughed so hard or felt so much joy with a group of people that I'm not ready to leave this group. I'm not ready to stop seeing them every day.
How special was today?
It was incredible. I think one thing that this program really emphasizes is just getting better and doing it together, and that just showed today. We wanted to come back from our performance on Thursday, show that we're still Georgetown and we still want to dominate, and we did it together and got a lot of people on the field, and that was important too.
And a chance to still come out with what would be their third straight Big East regular season titles. The winningest senior class in Georgetown women's soccer history. I know you have more winning to do. Ladies, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
You can head on back. I know you got some stretching to do with Coach Nolan as they'll wrap it up. This Georgetown program continues to define success in new ways every day, every game. They did it today again. 4-0 over Seton Hall, and now in a tie for second with Butler at 17 points, just 1 point shy of Xavier. That sets up what will be a huge judgment day in Big East women's soccer Today, though, the Hoyas will enjoy their senior day victory. For our producer, Brian Krieger, and our Great Rush Media crew, Sam Rubinoff, Dagan Hughes, and a cast of thousands here, we thank you for watching Big East Women's Soccer as Georgetown 4, Seton Hall 0. The Hoyas get win number 11 in an all-too crucial time, and they find themselves in position for a Big East regular season crown this Thursday. So long from our nation's capital. I'm John Fanta. Thanks for watching Big East Women's Soccer.